Now, going back to what you were saying, after the gospel is spread, one full circle from the west to the east.
We call it the circumnavigation of the gospel.
What's next, Pastor?
Once the whole thing comes, then Jesus returns.
Right.
So once Jesus returns, what happens then? The Bible answers that question. First thing, he becomes the king over all Israel, Revelation 19. And then Revelation 20, the 1,000-year millennial reign. He is invited to be the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords over the nations.
Okay.
All right? And then during that millennial reign, he does what we call the recreation. In other words, in his first coming, he dealt with sin.
Right.
Okay? But in his second coming, he deals with, number one, the superpowers, evil superpowers, Babylon. Number two, Satan. He deals with Satan. Number three, he deals with separation, death. Death being the last enemy, he must put an end to death. Only after all this have been defeated can we return back to the Garden of Eden. So that's the big plan of God. So it's not a vertical move, us from earth moving to heaven, but us from where we are in exile going back to the Garden of Eden.
I see. We, as a Christian, we were growing up that we have been taught that we are going to heaven.
Exactly.
So you're saying that we are not going to heaven?
No, heaven is coming down.
Heaven is coming down.
Revelation 21 verse 3.
Can we see the verse in the Bible?
Of course.
Aren't we
Revelation
supposed to be
21 verse
raptured
3.
first on the
No, you
clouds?
see, the reason why we got mixed up is because we never understood how the story began. You see, as Christians, we dive straight into the Gospels because that's where Jesus is.
Right. Yes.
And because that's where we find Jesus, we are unconcerned about what happened before. We want to know what happened when Jesus came into the picture. So we start with Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John.
Right.
But Jesus didn't just pop up in the vacuum. He is a product of everything that has gone before.
That's right.
In fact, what God had prophesied in Genesis 3 and verse 15, he actually showed up to fulfill that prophecy.
I see.
And therefore, failing to understand Genesis has led us to the current disaster. We don't know what happened before. So when we open Genesis 1 and 2, now, was the focus heaven or was the focus earth? Everything was happening on earth, but heaven and earth were one in Genesis 1 and 2 because God was in the Garden of Eden with Adam and Eve on earth. So heaven and earth were one. But after the fall of man in Genesis chapter 3, separation took place. Death, sin brought death. Death means separation. So these two were separated. Jesus came to earth to bring everything back to its previous order.
Amen.
So that's why when we read the book of Ephesians, we as Christians feel that all that Jesus came to do was to get us into right relationship with God. Well, that's there. That's the starting point, but that's not the ending point. The ending point is when you start reading the book of Ephesians, he is uniting not only man with man, husband and wife, employees and employees, but he's bringing heaven and earth back together.
I see.
That's the subject of Ephesians chapter 1. And then chapter 2, Jews and Gentiles. He's reconciling them.
Yes.
He's in the mission of bringing things together. That's his mission. But we have limited the scope of his mission and his ministry to only saving man.
Yeah.
Now,
in Revelation chapter 21 verse 3, did you say 21 verse 3? I'm going to read for you from King James Version of the Bible. And I heard a great voice out of heaven saying, Behold, the tabernacle of God is with men, and he will dwell with them, and they shall be his people, and God himself shall be with them and be their God. It doesn't really say that.
This is King James. Read verse 2 and verse 4.
Okay, verse 2, it says that, And I, John, saw the holy city, New Jerusalem, coming down from God out of heaven.
That's it.
Prepared as a bride adorned for her husband. Verse 3, And I heard a great voice out of heaven saying, Behold, the tabernacle of God is with men, and he will dwell with them, and they shall be his people, and God himself shall be with them and be their God. Verse 4, And God shall wipe away all tears from their eyes, and there shall be no more death, neither sorrow nor crying, neither shall there be any more pain, for the former things are passed away.
Exactly.
So again, you are saying that we are not going back to heaven, or we are
Heaven
not
is
going
coming
to
down.
heaven, but heaven is coming down.
Yes.
In the form of New Jerusalem.
In the form of New
I think
Jerusalem.
many people are going to be disappointed.
Absolutely, I was. I was.
Because we were so ready to get away from this world.
We are
right?
always told that, you know, the floor of heaven is made of like
Gold.
Yeah, all that is still there, but it's down here.
Okay.
Now, you see, the reason why we are struggling with that concept is because we never understood how it all began. In Genesis 1 and 2, they were together. Heaven and earth were one.
I see.
And so because of sin, it got separated. Now Jesus wants to bring them back as one, as it was before. Now, the big thing here is heaven is not simply a place that we want to be. Heaven is heaven to us because Jesus is there.
Yeah.
I see.
Amen.
That's why we often heard
so
that.
if Jesus is not there in heaven, heaven
see.
is not heaven. So I want to be where Jesus is, and that's where heaven is for me. And if Jesus is coming down to earth, and this is where he wants to be forever, this is heaven.
What about Judgment Day? Where is it going to take place?
Judgment takes place in Revelation 20, one chapter before.
Correct. And is it going
Location.
to happen here on earth?
On earth.
Okay.
On earth.
So it's also not in the what about the throne room?
The throne room right now is up there.
Okay.
Okay, so when you see John being taken up in Revelation 4 verses 1 and 2, everything is happening there now.
Yeah.
Okay, so if a person dies now, where does he go? Well, he goes to be with Christ in heaven. Okay, but there's coming a day when that heaven is coming down.
I see. So,
Okay.
so the understanding when people say that when somebody passed away, he went with the Lord,
Yeah, went with the
means when people also believe that they went to heaven.
Yes.
So that's also true.
Yes, in the light of what we read in Philippians, for me to depart is to be present with the Lord.
Correct.
Yeah.
When the earthly tent is taken away, then we are going with the Lord.
Yeah.
Aren't
Yeah.
they supposed to be in the waiting room first?
Well, the waiting room is a Roman Catholic idea.
So there is no waiting room. We
No,
go
there-
straight to heaven.
Yeah, they go straight to heaven, but heaven has many compartments.
Okay.
All right, so where exactly they are, I can't tell, but they are active.
Okay.
Okay, they are not just lying there motionless waiting for they are active. What is Abraham doing now? What is Moses doing now? What is Joshua doing now? What is my brother, my dead brother, doing now? Well, they are all the great cloud of witnesses, and they are actively participating with heaven. I mean, you read Revelation chapter 5, the saints in heaven are praying to fill the bowls, the harp and bowls. They are praying out there. They are active.
Oh, they are the ones praying. I thought the ones on earth.
No,
were praying.
Revelation 5 is referring to them.
Okay.
Because when they say, you are worthy, you have ransomed every tongue, every tribe, and you have made them kings and priests, and they shall reign on earth.
I see.
They are saying them. Yeah.
I think I'm not going to call this as confusion, but lack of understanding. I think Hollywood has able to picture this better than us Christian. I mean, like if you have seen the Marvel universe.
Okay.
I mean, like with intergalactical.
Yes.
What do you call it? Journey and trip, and also what do you call it again? Different reality, multiverse. And where Thor,
Dimensions.
the son of thunder,
Oh my goodness.
was able to go down through the
my
portal
God.
hole. So is it like that also?
Well, in some sense, Hollywood is capitalizing on a certain element that's found in the Bible. That
That's what I believe also.
that in the end times, the sons of God. Now, when we say sons of God, who are we thinking about? The Bible uses the term sons of God, sometimes referring to you and I.
Correct.
But other time, the sons of God, like in Job, the book of Job, it refers to a company of angels,
Okay.
and specifically the fallen angels.
I see.
So they are making a comeback in the end times. You read the book of Revelation, the amount of angelic activity in the book of Revelation, like in the book of Acts, you have like 20, 21, 22 angelic appearances. In the book of Revelation, you have 90 plus angelic appearances. Why the sudden explosion? Why are there so much angelic manifestations in the book of Revelation, because the war is happening. The final war is happening. Like Revelation 12, the battle between Michael, the archangel, and the dragon is being fought not in heaven, not on earth, it's in between.
On the air.
The galactic wars, like it says. Yeah.
Nice, very
So
interesting.
it's happening or it's going to happen?
It's happening already. It began in the days of Daniel, remember?
Right, I remember.
Okay,
Yeah.
But it will be amplified after Revelation 12. After Israel comes into salvation, boom, explodes.
After Israel comes into
Will our eyes, physical eyes, be able to witness all this, or it's happening in the spirit that we don't even sense it? Maybe it's happening right here on the left, or my life here that is
No,
happening.
it must be in the air.
Or yeah, that's what I'm asking.
I think most of us will not be able to witness that with our naked eyes, but there are those who will be gifted.
Okay.
Correct. I
Like
see.
Daniel, not this Daniel, the other Daniel. Yeah.
Maybe this Daniel
Be gifted.
will
Maybe
too,
this
if
Daniel
the Lord
also,
touches his
yeah.
eyes to see.
They'll be gifted.
Now, Pastor, may I ask, why is it that some churches don't even dare to teach Revelations to their congregations?
For understandable reason, because it's a controversial subject.
It is, yes.
Yeah, but you see, that's where, as pastors, we have to ask ourselves the question, how is it possible that all of us as Christians are reading the same Bible? And as we read the same Bible, we walk away with 4, maybe 3, maybe 4 different versions of the second coming of Christ. How is that possible? We are reading the same Bible.
Right.
And I struggle with this. I struggled with this in seminary. My major in seminary was eschatology. But I never got the answer in seminary. I only got the answer when I encountered Jesus in 1998. That encounter revealed many things to me.
I see.
So that's when I came to the understanding. And this is the very simple explanation to how we can solve the problem. The Bible, to start with, is an Eastern book, not a Western book. What do I mean by that? Every author named in the Bible were either from Israel or from the Middle East.
Right.
Okay? Meaning it's an Eastern book.
Correct.
But the Bible has fallen prey in the hands of the Westerners. And the Westerners, given their view of how they view the world,
Right. Worldview.
they began to see the Bible as a series of subjects instead of a story. I'll give you an example. When you go to seminary, they don't tell you this is the storyline of the Bible. They don't tell you that. They break the Bible into parts: eschatology, soteriology,
Correct.
hamartology, ecclesiology, and all of this. Because in the hands of the Germans, they were the preeminent theologians in Europe. The Germans, what are they gifted for? They are the gifted engineers of the world. They take something big and break it down into parts. They are a superior intelligence when it comes to analysis, not synthesis, analysis. So in the hands of the Germans, they broke the Bible down into a series of subjects. And then one of the subjects was eschatology. So when you teach eschatology as a standalone subject, you are free to take it any which way you want.
Oh.
Okay? So for example, if you're pre-trib, you use 1 Thessalonians. If you're post-trib, you use Matthew. So if you're mid-trib, you use 1 Corinthians. So you're free to play around. But what
which
if...
one is correct, Pastor?
Now, that's I say, what if we go back to the original idea as it was in the apostles of the early church, but the Bible is a story, a single story, and therefore a single end.
Yeah.
Once you subscribe to that view, the Bible is a story, a single end, then there is no confusion as to when Jesus must return. The first question is, why must Jesus return? Didn't Jesus say on the cross, it is finished?
Correct.
If everything was finished on the cross, why must he come back?
Wow.
Why are we not
Never thought
asking the
about that.
question?
Yeah. Correct.
Why must he come back? You ask a question, they don't have an answer. If Jesus said it is finished, then why is he coming back? Coming back to do what? Shouldn't he just wait for us to die or be raptured and be taken away? Coming for what? And when he's coming back, he's not going back. He's coming to stay, take up permanent residency on earth. Why? He's not going back.
To establish his kingdom on earth?
Yeah. That was his plan all along.
I see. Wow.
Okay.
Radical, huh?
Very.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But I found this so helpful because I was struggling with this, Pastor.
Yeah.
How can we all read the same Bible and walk away for? And because of this controversy, we don't want to teach. We don't want to preach on this.
Exactly.
Yeah, it has become a very, what do you call it?
Divisive
controversial subject, like you said.
Yeah.
The churches prefer to avoid the controversy,
Yeah.
avoid the debates among us so that we can live peacefully one with another. But we are missing the essence.
See, once you understand the Bible is a story, a single story, the end comes by itself.
I see. The Bible is supposed to be able to explain itself.
Yeah, it's a natural consequence.
Now, Pastor, what about some thoughts that are saying like this? We focus on Jesus and his cross, and everything else is just not essential. So,
Good question.
they only preach about the gospel of salvation, how we are saved, how we always have to go back there to the cross. But then I realized that the congregations, as they are maturing, they are also asking the questions. Okay, we have been saved by grace through faith in Christ Jesus, and now what? How do we live our lives, and what's the end of all this?
Let me answer this question in two ways. This is an interesting question.
Yeah.
Now, we ascribe everything that we are, that we will be, to the cross of Jesus, the death of Jesus on the cross. Now, did Peter see Jesus die on the cross? Yes, he did. Did the disciples, his apostles, see Jesus die on the cross? Yes, they did. Did the death of Jesus change them? No.
The resurrection.
It's the resurrection that finally changed them.
All right.
They saw Jesus died right before their eyes.
It broke their heart.
Yeah, it broke their heart, it grieved them and all that. But then it never brought about the transformation within them.
Exactly.
Until the resurrection took place. And then finally they made the connection.
The Holy Spirit.
Okay? But you see, there are 6 acts of divine acts on the part of Jesus that he did. Incarnation, crucifixion, resurrection, ascension, exaltation, return. These are the 6 acts of Jesus. Now, why 6 acts of Jesus? Because Jesus wants to repair the broken world that was created in 6 days. Through 6 acts, he recreates the world as it was before.
Wow.
And it climaxes with his return.
Very interesting.
So if the churches are not teaching at all the full context of the gospel, that means we are not doing it right.
Yeah, we're missing it out. Because like I said, the big picture of the Bible, like I said, is about 3 things. It's about your destiny, my destiny, your nation's destiny, my nation's destiny, you and I partnering with God to bring our nation to his destiny. Why do we read in Revelation 21 verse 24, and the nations brought their glory and honor before the King of Kings? Repeated again in verse 26. Why? What are the nations doing there? And why are the nations bringing forth their glory and honor? In other words, that's the mission of Jesus, to bring not only you and I to our God-given destiny, but to bring the nations to their God-given destiny.